Color influences everyone. During the gray days of winter, the lack of color can be depressing. When color comes back in the warmer months, the golden light of a sunset can cheer us. Imagine walking into a doctor's office where everything was bright green. This color could feel really intense. So let's learn about color. In the world of color, there are three important words to know: hue, saturation, and gray. Hue is the name, shade, or tint of a color: red, violet, orange, etc. Saturation is purity of a color, intensity, and chroma. On the right, you see green, yellow, and blue. They're highly saturated, and underneath those colors is the muted version. They are less saturated. Gray is muted, muddy, or neutral color. The primary colors of light are red, green, and blue. TVs and electronic devices produce color by emitting light from their screens. Because the primary colors of light are added together to produce new hues, we call this additive color. The primary colors of pigment are red, blue, and yellow. Pigment doesn't emit light. It can only produce color one way, by absorbing and reflecting wavelengths of light. For example, this green paint absorbs all the wavelengths of light except green, which is reflected back to our eye. We call this subtractive color because all the other colors have been absorbed or subtracted. On the color wheel, the primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. Primary colors are the root of all color. They can't be made by mixing other colors together. If you mix two primary colors together, you make a secondary color. The three secondary colors are orange, green, and violet, or purple. Here's a simple color wheel. All the colors on this wheel have a visual temperature. Generally, cool colors would include blues, greens, and purples. Warm colors might include reds, oranges, and yellows. On this wheel, blue is the coolest color and yellow is the warmest color. A simple way to decide if a color is warm or cool is to determine whether it is closer to blue or yellow. Which color is cooler, viridian or sap green? Well, which one is closer to blue? And that would be viridian. Which color is warmer, cad red or cad orange? Which one is closer to yellow? Well, that would be cadmium orange. Is the color of this love seat warm or cool? A single color can't be labeled warm or cool when it's all by itself, because color temperature is relative. Deciding the temperature of a color depends on which color is next to it. If I put yellow pillows on this love seat, the love seat then becomes a cooler color. When I put dark blue pillows on the love seat is a warmer color. So the color temperature of an object is relative to what the neighboring or adjacent colors are. It's important when you begin a painting to determine the temperature of your colors and your light source. Color temperature can help to create form in your subject. Think about the planes of these apples. Every time the plane changes, the color is altered. As you paint the planes of your subject, your colors will need to change too. Compare the colors in the circles. They're each different. Look at that yellow apple in the center. The top circle is receiving a lot of light and it's bright yellow. As the apple curves away from the light source, the next circle becomes darker and greener. The large red apple on the right has 3 circles. The left circle is receiving light and is a light red. As the apple turns away from the light source, the color in the next circle deepens into a mid-tone. In the third circle, the color darkens as the form of the apple curves into the shadow area. Light falls across everything in your subject, and it comes in a lot of colors. Knowing the temperature of your light source can create harmony in your painting. If you're confused and can't tell whether your light source is warm or cool, take a clue from your shadows. Generally, if the light source is warm, the shadows will feel cool. And if the light is cool, then the shadows will feel warmer. Your light source is a great harmonizer. It bathes your subject in uniform color. If you put a pair of sunglasses with pink lenses over your eyes and looked at this scene, everything would have a rosy cast on it. If you tried the same thing with yellow lenses, everything in your landscape would have a yellow tint to it. Light creates harmony in your painting. When colors aren't the right temperature, they can stick out and not harmonize with the rest of the colors in your work. In the image on the left, the sky is too cool to fit the warm color harmony of the landscape. Everything in this painting is receiving light from the same source. Remember those sunglasses. This cold blue sky needs to be repainted. On the right, the sky has been corrected with a warmer hue of green and white. Now, it's in harmony with the rest of the painting. So what color is light? The light coming from the sky at high noon on a hazy day will be diffused and cool. The clouds act as a filter. This is full spectrum lighting, and it allows us to perceive the most color. The image on the left was taken under full spectrum conditions. The one on the right was taken at sunset when the light that's being thrown into the atmosphere is much warmer and leans toward yellow and orange. Compare the two sky colors in both images. When you pay attention to the color and temperature of your light source and mix the colors on your palette accordingly, you'll get great color harmony in your painting. We've talked about color and temperature. Let's learn about gray. In one of Monet's haystack paintings, our eyes are being directed to the focal point through the use of gray. Gray allows parts of the painting to stay quiet, while the focal point remains more saturated and bright. Squint your eyes and notice the muted colors around the edges of this painting. Near the center of the piece, the color is brighter and more saturated. These mid-tone darks and grays lead your eye to that focal point. If every part of a painting were covered with bright or intense color, areas on the painting would compete to be the focal point. A great example is this Kandinsky painting. His type of abstract work doesn't have just one focal point. Our eyes move constantly around the painting, never landing in one spot. All the color is highly saturated and very intense. Kandinsky utilizes the principle of equalization, where every part of the painting has equal importance. Let's contrast that to the use of grays. Grays can play a key role in helping control the busy factor in your artwork. In Joaquin Sorolla's painting, The Fisherwoman and Her Son, the texture in the water and sand stays quiet because the colors are muted, and the values between those colors are similar. This provides a contrast to the bright, vibrant notes of sunlight in the clothing of the fisherwoman and in those white water waves. Look at the beautiful color in each circle. Sorolla created texture and form in the sand, and yet it remains quiet because it's so muted. The same idea with the water. Look at the many different blues he used. None of them are highly saturated. They're all gray. So how do we make gray? Instead of using black and white to make gray, I like to mix together complementary colors. Complementary colors lie across from each other on the color wheel. Mixing a color with its complement creates a gray or muted color. To mix gray, use colors that are already on your palette. Then your grays will harmonize with the colors in your painting. Red and green will give you a greenish gray. yellow and purple, a purple gray. Blue and orange, yet another gray. And look at those grays, they're all beautiful. In fact, I think they're far better than the gray you get from mixing black with white. To turn the form of this mussel shell, I mixed my grays using the complementary colors of purple and yellow, and in this case, the yellow was ochre. The complementary grays in the teapot painting were mixed with yellow and purple, and for the tablecloth, I used the complements of blue and orange. In the upper left corner is a circle that has a red-green gray. It's clearly not in harmony with the rest of the painting, and it looks out of place. By understanding how to use hue, color temperature, saturation, and the use of grays, we can create better paintings. Color plays an important role in our world. As artists, we have the power to use color in meaningful ways. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.